In this video I'm going to talk about one of the interesting feature of PostgreSQL, which is called range data types in PostgreSQL. So before I go into range data types feature in detail, so let me talk about a few use cases and how to achieve that. Right, so let's say you have a requirement of maintaining a database to employees, in which you wanted to store all the employees data, and each employee you wanted to maintain a service history like joining date and resignation date or end date of that employee in that company, right? So this is one example. See, another example is you wanted to maintain a temperature database, in which for a particular day you wanted to maintain a range of temperatures. What's the low and what's the high? Let's say 2 degrees to 15 degrees you wanted to maintain like this. So considering this requirement, the first thing that comes into our mind is that so let's maintain two columns, right? One is low value, another one is high value. So if you build your table like this, low and high, so and along with some identification, so you may insert the values like this, right? So and so on, right, according to your requirement, right? Now let's say while you are inserting low and high values from your application code or from various resources, so you will have to always write your own business logics or kind of extra logics at application layer level, or any other interface from which the data is getting inserted into these tables to check your low and high values. I mean to say, like, let's say you are trying to insert values for a particular record, low as 10, high as 20. So you need to always ensure that your high value is always greater than your low value, the other way around, right? This kind of logics you may need to implement it, right? And then second thing is, once we have the data like this, let's say you have a requirement to pull out all the days in which the temperature was between 2 degrees to 15 degrees, right? So there might be many days in which this minimum as 2 and maximum as 20 degrees might exist. So in that case you may need to write your queries using a low value, less than or equal to 2, sorry, or greater than or equal to 2, and high is less than or equal to 20, something like this. You need to write a query, right? So this becomes a burden when you wanted to deal with large data. The burden, I mean to say, you need to, if your table has got a large data, so you need to define indexes on two columns, right? Low column and high column. So what if we have a feature which can deal all these requirements using a single column and with powerful indexing capabilities and simplified querying capabilities, right? That's where the range data types comes into picture in PostgreSQL, right? So with the range data type, you don't need to maintain values in two different columns, rather you can maintain in a single column, right? For example, if it is an integer, something like this, you can maintain just 10 and 20. So while you are inserting, you don't need to really bother about validation of this particular range values. So when you try to insert, PostgreSQL implicitly takes care of validation of this, right? And also it comes along with powerful indexing capabilities. You can just define index on this, and also it supports various operators on this, like contains, or maybe just overlapping ranges, right? Greater than element, greater than a particular element, less than a particular element, right? So this kind of advantages comes up with range data types. So now let's see all these points. Okay, So the first thing is I will just read out whatever we discussed till now. Range data types are used to manage value ranges, as we discussed with the low and high. And these data types are applicable for numeric, integer, and date ranges, right? So each value in range data type consists of both lower and upper value, right? PostgreSQL always ensure that the lower and upper values are correct, right, during the insertion and updation. Okay, for this you don't need to define any check constraint. It is automatically taken care. Okay, so no check constraints are needed. And advantage is you just need to store the data of your range with single column, and simplified and powerful querying capabilities, right? You don't need to use two columns, greater than, less than, right? All these kind of things are not required. So there are a couple of operators, so using which you can easily query. So we will see those also. And automatic validation, I mean to say that during the data insertion or updation, PostgreSQL engine will take care of it. Diverse range of operators, right? We will also see what operators are supported on top of this range data types. And indexing support, yes, range data type columns also can be indexed, so that you don't need to worry about when you are dealing with large tables, so you can easily retrieve the data. Now let's take some example on integer. So I have scripts ready, so let's talk about all this with a practical thing. So the first scenario which I'm going to talk about is using the integer range. Okay, so let's clean up. So the data type that we are seeing newly here is int4 range. So this is the keyword to define your column with integer range. So let's create the table, and now let's insert the values. If you see, the way we are inserting here is with the brackets, and then with your lower value and upper value, and then you are just typecasting with the integer 4 range to ensure that it is, to make sure that we are inserting into integer range column. Otherwise this may be considered as a string to PostgreSQL. Okay, that's why we are explicitly typecasting it. Let's insert. Okay, so as I mentioned about the validation, automatic validation, so let's try to put something like this, 20 and then 10. So here lower value is high, but higher value is low, so this should be rejected, right? So that's where you go. Say range lower bound must be less than or equal to range of upper bound, right? So this is not only during the insert, same thing can happen during the it will happen during the update also. Okay, now let's try to query and see how it looks like. Right, so it looks like the same way what we inserted here in a simple representation. Now let's see the powerful querying capabilities that I was talking about, right? So now first thing is overlap data querying. So what exactly overlap data querying? So we are trying to take up with the 10 and 25 range. So this means this query should pull up all the records, okay, whose range is overlapping with this. Means, for example, let's take 10. So 10 is falling between this range and this range, right? So these two records should be in our output. Now 25 is falling between this one and only this. So ideally we need to get 3 records as output, right? 4 records, sorry. So if you see here 5, 20, so 10 is exists in this range, right? 20 and then 8 and 30. So in this we have 10 as well as 25 is also falling or overlapping with this 16 and 20, right? So in this we have a range of in between value 20 also comes, right? So that's the reason like 15, 16, 17, 18, right? So that's the reason 16 and 20 also came into picture here. Okay? 15 and 20 is also falling between this, right? So 15 falls between 10 and 25, right? And 20 also falls in between of this. So this is a powerful query, right? So you don't need to worry about how to include. In a classic scenario, you may need to consider low column, upper column, right, using a greater than, less than. All that headache is not needed here. So you simply use this double ampersand and provide your overlap range using which you wanted to query. Now, contains in range. Let's see what exactly this contains in range, right? If you see here, so 15 and 25. So this particular range falling into which of the existing values, right? 15 and 25. So if you see here, 15 and 25. So okay, 15 is falling here, but not 25 is not in this range, right? So 15 is here in this range and 25 also in this range. So this record is eligible. Similarly, 20 is in this range. Sorry, 15 is in this range, but not 25, right? 15 is in this range, but not 25. So the only eligible record is 8 and 30. That's where you go. Now, this is this is a different example or a different querying capability using @ and then greater than symbol. So this is a contains element, right? 15. So this means bring up all the records in which the value 15 exists in the range of all the existing records, right? Now let's see. 15 exists where? 15 exists here, 15 exists here, 15 exists here. Total 3 records, right? Yeah, there you go. Very simple. Okay, @ and then greater than, right? So these are some of the powerful querying capabilities using which you can query your records easily and effectively and with simplified code. That's the important thing, right? And index. So indexes are also available on integer range or date range or numeric range columns, as I mentioned. So this is the syntax. So you can simply create index using this, right? And now let's see another querying capability of greater than range, right? So greater than range 129, which means bring up all the records, right? So in which the given range, right, is, for example, in this case we are talking about 1. So 1 is falling here, which is a greater than 1, falling here, and falling here also. And then 29 is also falling here, right? Only falling here, nowhere else. But the other records are being also displayed here because of this lower range, right? So that's a greater than range concept, right? So that's all about integer range. Now let's quickly see a date range. I will not go deep dive, but let's talk about simple representation of it. So this is date range example. Let's clean up and then let's insert here. So if you see employee ID, employee name, service history, this is the keyword to hold the date range values, right? Let's try to simply insert, right? Simply select it the same way it looks like integer. If you try to insert invalid range, still you will get the error, right? So similarly, you can also try with num range, right? NUM RANG is the keyword for num range data type. Okay, so that's all about range data types in PostgreSQL. Thank you.